Access to capital is vital when you are trying to grow your business. But in spite of this, we see millions of business owners, young entrepreneurs, they struggle to raise the much needed capital to move their business ideas forward. And in my last broadcast, I said that there's no shortage of capital. There is debt, equity, credit, creative financing, hard money lending. We know this because we are interfacing with multiple financial institutions with the aim of bringing down the barrier of access to capital to our clientele base. Today, I want to spend some time talking to you about business credit. Why? Because business credit is perhaps the lowest hanging fruit when it comes to access to capital. But this is something that you have to be prepared for. My last broadcast, I talked about how to be prepared, how to prepare the business properly in order to access business credit. This is the second part of the program, and we're going to be talking about everything that you need to know about building business credit. So you have done everything in the first program. You register your business with the Secretary of State. Now, what next? Building business credit is not automatic. Knowledge is power, and the application of that knowledge is where you're going to get your superpower. And you definitely want to spend some time learning about business credit and applying yourself after business credit. If you cannot do this on your own because you do not have the time, perhaps the energy, the will to do this on your own, my advice is to get a financial expert on your side. Get the support that you need to help move the process forward. All right. We at Pitch Deck 101, we have a team of professionals that are here to give you all the support that you need in terms of accessing business credit. We have partnership with financial institutions that have allocated millions of dollars and billions of dollars to business just like you. So reach out to us, use our website pitchdeck101.org, navigate that website to learn some of what we are doing so you too can start taking practical steps to ensure that your business is properly funded and you're given the support to grow and scale in the right way. Now, looking at the first video, once you would have completed all of that, the next advice that I would give to you is that you need to have your D&B number. Now, this is also important. You must be registered with D&B. Now, this is an institution that has been registered, established since 1841, quite a number of years. It's one of the biggest, business bureau in the world. All right, we have millions and millions of businesses that are a part of this institution. If you're preparing yourself for business credit, you need to play with the big boys. And one of those things that you need to do is to ensure that you have your D and B number. If you don't know how, reach out to us and we will be happy to support you with this process. Now, in getting your D and B, you want to start to build what we call your PAYDEX score. Now, your PAYDEX score is similar to your FICO score or your personal credit score. You see, at a personal level, they're using your SSN to help you to get your FICO score. In the business world, you're using your EIN and ITIN to get a PAYDEX score, and this is so important. You need to start taking steps to get what is known as a PAYDEX score. Now, while the FICO score range from between, let us say, 300 plus to 850, the highest being the most favorable people to want to allocate monies to, or the most favorable business to want to work with. On the PAYDEX side, you're rating between let us say 50 into about 100, the 100 being the highest. You want to ensure that you are not only getting a PAYDEX score, but you are able to do the necessaries to ensure that your PAYDEX score is looking appealing, attractive, and is helping you to look fundable. Again, this is not automatic. You have to be intentional and deliberate in terms of the steps that you're taking to build your PAYDEX score. Now, I'm going to give you some tips and tricks in terms of how you can go about doing this. And remember, it's not just about the knowledge. You have to apply this knowledge to get the results. And in the event that you still need more information, more support to be able to apply this body of knowledge that I'm giving you, I encourage you to reach out to us at Pitch Deck 101. The numbers are scrolling at the bottom of the screen. The website is also scrolling there, and we will be happy to talk to you. Remember, like, subscribe, and share in the event that you find this information useful and valuable to you. I encourage you to like, subscribe, and share so you will be the first to know when we're publishing these programs. Smash that like button. Now, in order to move in the right direction to push your PAYDEX score upward, you want to begin at the basics. For most of you, you have to begin at the basics. And that basics begins with you taking out trade lines. And what do I mean by trade lines? There's this concept that we call net 30, net 60, and net 90. Because of the fact that it's a new business, whether you set up the business 5 years or 10 years ago, if you have no credit history, it's still a new business. So you have to start in most cases from the business, from ground zero. You might have had a business that might have 5 years of excellent, financial record, but because you're not registered with DNB, because you do not have a PAYDEX score, it is still considered a new business. You cannot take the data from previously and upload those data to get a good PAYDEX score. It doesn't work like that. So in starting a business, you really want to get these things right because it can really help in fast tracking your business. I also want to put this out there. Trade line, which I'm talking about at the moment, the biggest companies in the United States of America, they leverage trade line. The biggest supermarket, Walmart and those big organizations, they leverage everything that I'm telling you about. So why not small companies? This is an opportunity for you to access capital and grow and scale your business, but you have to start in the right way. So trade line net 30, 60, and 90 is one way. And let me give you a brief example as to what a net 30 is. A net 30 is more what we call the vendor credit. And it is useful depending on how the business is set up, depending on the SIC code that I spoke about in the last program. Companies will be assessing your risk factor. And based on your risk factor, again, they may allocate a credit line to you. For example, the vendor credit means that you're going to a vendor, might be Quail, Granger, might be Walmart, might be Target, might be Best Buy. And when they pull your credit score, business credit score, your PAYDEX score, they see that you are low risk. Perhaps you may be allocated between $4,000 to $25,000. Perhaps that can be a very decent start for you because we're talking here US dollars. It could be a decent start for you to take that line of credit and buy stocks from those companies and outfit your business with the products that you're taking. One thing for sure here is that you're given access to monies. All right. So you may have a hardware store, you may have an office furniture store. There are many of those office furniture suppliers that will give you a net 30, 60, and 90. So while you do not have perhaps the liquid cash, you have a store line of credit where you're able to leverage that funding into accessing the materials that you need, the products that you need to furnish your office, furnish the store with products. So you can now appeal to your buyers. That is an option that is available to you. Now, this is starting at rock bottom, is starting at ground zero, but you need to start somewhere. And you do this and you do this right. In a few short months, the skies open up to you. All right, the skies literally open up to you once you do this and do this right. Now, let me explain a couple of things here about the net 30, 60, and 90. If you're given a net 30 from a vendor, it simply means that the sum of money that they have given to you, the sum of a credit line of credit that they have given to you, you can utilize those monies for the business. But at the end of the 30 days, the 60 days, or the 90 days, you need to pay back those monies in full. This is what is going to really help you also to build up your paydex score. It is your ability to pay on time that will help you to build payment history, and based on your payment history, the the financial world will be looking at you. I must also say your business credit score is public. Anyone can pull your business credit score. So if someone wants to do business with you, they have your business name, they can pull it. And that's public. That's different from your FICO score. So that information is public. So understanding this process, the very first process is important. Now, once you would have done this and do it well, which is taking out your vendor credit, paying back on time, paying back before the time, these things do help you. You can now move to the second tier. And the second tier is where you now get store credit. Now, this is getting a little bit more excited because with store credit, perhaps these same vendors that gives you, first of all, vendor credit, they now give you store credit. And with the store credit, what it means now is that you have another line of credit, and perhaps with business, because you have shown a healthy track record, they bump your credit line up to perhaps 50,000, 75,000, 100,000 in a credit line. The beauty about this here also is that you're not only allowed to spend the funding at the vendor itself, you can also spend that fund at anywhere in the United States of America and perhaps the world because it is now store credit. So they start you off on the vendor to start to test your credit worthiness, to test your how responsible you are in taking that and paying back that, and then they take you up further. Now, remember I said whatever you do in business with your paydex score is public. So when you apply to a financial institution for funding, they can pull your paydex, and that's public knowledge, and that will help them to make a informed decision as to whether or not they should do business with you. But when you do well at the vendor credit, you do well at the store credit, meaning that you're taking the line of credit, you're paying back on time. Guess what? Guess what? The third tier, which is credit financing, they start knocking at your door because they see that you are a good ambassador. You're not a risk factor when it comes to buying and leveraging debt. They want to do business with you because you have now proven yourself. And it takes about 3 to 4 billion cycles for you to start building up these type of visibility with the right financial institution. So within 6 to 9 months, you could be well on your way to building up your business credit. Of course, there's faster way to make this happen, but I leave that for another day. Now, as you take the steps to go through these 3 tiers, I want to push you a little faster here. In fast tracking the credit score building, You also want to establish relationship with what I call credit unions, because as an entrepreneur, you're looking for funding. You need funding. If you're investing in real estate, you're always looking for funding. Credit union plays a very pivotal role in helping you to access capital. And to get registered with the credit union, again, it's much lower pre-qualification than if you go into the banks. The big banks, the JP Morgan, the Chase, the Bank of America, they may have some very, rigid, pre-qualification criterias in terms of setting you up there. And particularly in terms of getting you prepared to access capital, you have to be ready to source funding when you're going to these institutions. So starting with a credit union is going to be very helpful in this regard. Their entry barriers are lower, their pre-qualifications are lower, and these are things that you want to look at. If you need help, we can certainly help to set you up in these regards. Now, as you start to establish these relationships, you need to start learning the difference between what we call revolving line of credit and installment line of credit. And here again, as you go through all of these different tiers, you will now be exposed to revolving line of credit. This is where the banks now, because you have built up enough credit history, they are now making revolving lines of credit available to you. Now, I've seen many institutions, many business startups get access to thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars. In fact, we are working with financial partners that works with you, the entrepreneur, to help you get access to between 100 to $250,000 within a 3 months window, within a 1 month period, depending on how prepared you are, how fundable you are, how prepared the business is. So all that I'm saying to you is possible because we have established partnership with multiple financial institutions to help move you forward. One of those institutions is MB Capital, is one of our financial partners that is on the ground working tremendously hard to help businesses to achieve their business financial goals so they can move their businesses forward. So with revolving line of credit, uh, and I'll talk about this specifically as time progresses. This is a fund and the same responsibility that you would have shown in terms of the net 30, 60, and 90, you want to be showing this with this. All right. The difference is that when you take out money from a revolving account and you put it back, it's available to you the very next day. But there's a whole lot more that I want to be talking to you about in terms of credit and how to leverage credit. You need to understand the billing cycle, open and close days, due days. Those are some things that later on we'll get into all of that to ensure that you're an educated consumer. We will talk about interest rates and how to, navigate high interest rates. Those are things that we will get into later on. But we're talking today about steps that you need to take to build access business credit. Now, installment loan is also important. You also need to ensure that you're taking out installment loan. And what is an installment loan? An installment loan now may be perhaps a mortgage, perhaps a vehicle. Now, just don't go and take these things out because I'm said to take these things out. You want to take these things out, these types of debt out in a responsible way. And we will be happy to work with you to ensure that you have the right information so you're able to take informed and educated decisions as you set yourself up to start to access business funding. Now, many financial institutions, because you do not have, credit history, they may be somewhat hesitant to put a big line of credit in your hand, 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 all in your hand. But what you can do to start to establish that type of relationship with them is take out what we call a secure business loan. Now, what is a secure business loan? A secure business loan means that you are taking out a loan with the bank for, let us say, $50,000, but you also put $50,000 in that bank. So if you mess up, and most people do because they don't fully understand what they're doing, the bank has that security that you would have deposited to offset the cost, to offset the risk. And if you do this and do it in a responsible manner, again, this is helping you to build a relationship with the financial institution. It's helping you to build credit worthiness with the institution. It's helping you to carry up your PAYDEX score, and it's helping you to be more fundable. So these are some basic steps that you would need to take. You have the secure and unsecure line of credit, business line of credit. And as you start to optimize, if you do everything the way that I have just said it, the time will come that you will start to get unsecure business line of credit to help move the business forward. Now, there's a couple of other housekeeping that I want to do here just before we close off today's program. I spoke early on about DNB. I spoke about, trade lines. We spend a lot of time talking about trade lines. But in setting up your business, you want to ensure that when the financial institution pull your PAYDEX score, that you have visibility with Equifax business, Experian business. Now, these are all credit reporting agencies, and you want to ensure that you have the visibility with them. You want to ensure that the information that they're reporting for you is accurate. And there are ways in which you can go about doing that. If you don't know how, again, I want to encourage you to reach out to us. We will be happy to talk to you about this and point you in the right direction. Now, you have DNB, Experian, and Equifax, who are the top business reporting agency, but there are others. And depending on which financial institution you're with, um, you have to be sensitive of this. There Ansonia, there is Credit Safe, there's LexisNexis, and these are some of the important credit reporting agencies that you need to know. As time progresses, I will go deeper into all of these concepts. And of course, I will be doing a special program that really helps you to understand how to be responsible with your line of credit. And of course, in our program, we are not only talking about, financial portfolios. We're helping you to understand financial portfolios, how to access those financial, how to leverage portfolios smartly, and most importantly, how to mitigate debt. So with Pitch Deck 101.org, we really help you to have this comprehensive knowledge in terms of accessing debt and mitigating debt. So you're debt free, you have your equity, you have greater equity leverage, and you're smiling to the bank because you have more ka-ching ching in your hands. All right. So I trust you would have enjoyed today's program. I want to encourage you to like, subscribe, and share. Smash that, bell so you will be the first to, you know, have these programs. You'll be the first to know when we publish these programs on a regular basis. Again, my name is Gary Thompson. I'm a business development consultant by profession. I'm a humanitarian by nature, and I'm the self-published author for several books, including 10X Branding and Marketing Blueprint, The Psychology of Money, and so much more. I trust you would have enjoyed today's program. Remember, if you have a friend who's in business looking for funding, we are the people to go to in 2023. Okay, so be blessed and see you in the next program.